bureaucratic bunkum. What's going to happen next?
Nothing. The commission, they've come with this agreement, complete and utter fucking nonsense on passenger rights. To be fair, the big push from the Commission was to extend the delays from 3 up to 4 hours, which made some sense, although, I would say that. But given the ATC delays, but there was no reform on ATC, no reform on no pullback on ETS, which the Europeans are still the only ones paying. And the big win for the Parliament is, airlines must now advertise a fare that includes a second carry-on bag. So you now want us to advertise higher fares than the lower fares that are available out there, even though more than 50% of passengers don't bring a cabin bag. And that's going to be the great win for our times. Putin has invaded Ukraine and Trump is bombing Iran all over the right to carry a second cabin bag on board aircraft. And our parliamentarians are, absolutely obsessed with, the need to passengers the right to bring a second bag on board an aircraft, even though they don't all fit. But other than that, there's really nothing in it.
Did the Commission cave in, do you think?
To be fair to the Commission, they didn't, because these lunatics wanted to put in, the freedom or the passenger right to bring two cabin bags on board the aircraft, despite the fact they don't fit. So at least the Commission kind of sort of defended that. Never mind on our aircraft. Anybody who's flown a Ryanair aircraft that knows there's no space in the overhead bins for any more bags. But the turboprop aircraft, like the Aer Lingus regional aircraft, you barely fit one. You bring one carry-on bag. Most of those overheads, particularly where the wings are, don't even have an overhead bin. So it's nonsense, but it's the typical kind of stupidity that you get out of the European Parliament, and they wasted nearly 5 months on this. I think it was the Cypriots wanted a deal, and they couldn't come up with something, and this is the usual European compromise, but it just, they come up with these stupid regulations that really are completely nonsensical. We have lower airlines have our lowest fares, and the lowest fares exclude a second cabin carry-on bag. Do you want to? Now we're not allowed to advertise those fares. Now we have to advertise a higher fare, when more than half our passengers, the majority of passengers, don't pay those fares. So only Europe would come up with this stupidity. And then we have von der Leyen walking around nodding on about the need for Europe to be more competitive. We must be more competitive, and they do nothing. And this is their solution to Europe being more competitive. Let's have the airlines advertise higher fares than are actually available in the system. What do we think customers will do? They'll buy the lower fares that are available in the system.
The second bag, the airlines will define the size of that.
To be fair, the Europeans already defined, the baggage definitions are agreed by the European airlines in consultation with the Commission. So the free carry-on bag is the large kind of briefcasey size bag. The second one is the one that fits into the baggage size or initial trolley bag or the wheelie bag or that kind of nonsense. So there's no argument over the sizes of the bag. The problem is that we're an airline with a 94% load factor, which is almost every flight is full, and everybody can't bring a trolley bag on board those aircraft. Or one, you will have more queues at airport security around Europe, and two, you'll have huge delays at boarding gates.
So how's that going to get resolved, Michael?
It's not. The resolution is now there. The only resolution is there's no change to what you can bring on board an aircraft. But the airlines now are not allowed to advertise a price unless that price includes the trolley bag. So basically our lowest fare will now become the lowest fare including priority boarding. So we're no longer allowed to advertise our lowest fares, but customers will continue to buy the lowest fares because they won't be bringing a second carry-on bag on board.
Presumably you can advertise both and say this is
No. They're saying now the European Commission in their Parliament in their wisdom on behalf of consumers are saying airlines can only advertise higher fares than are available in their system, but that higher fare will include the free second carry-on bag.
And what's to stop 189 people bringing their 10k on board when there's only 90 spaces?
We won't allow it. We will only allow up to 50%. We allow up to 50% of people to buy the priority boarding fee. The other 50% aren't allowed to buy it. Once the first thing is about 45% of passengers have bought priority boarding, they can't. We don't allow any more priority boarding. That's how we limit the second carry-on bag.
And you'll have to take bags off people at the gate then, because they'll all demand their right for the 10k bag.
No, there is no right. No, to be fair, there's no right to the 10k bag. There's no change to what passengers can bring on board aircraft. It is still one free per bag of personal item, and then you have to pay extra to bring the second cabin bag. But what the Commission and the Parliament have now agreed is that the airlines can only advertise that for the higher fare which includes the priority boarding in it.
The parents sitting with the children.
In reality, it'll mean almost nothing. Like what we will do is what we currently have is, parents there's a €4, whatever it is, fee per seat. We won't be able to charge the lowest fee, the €4 per seat. But if you want those seats, you'll be sitting in rows 19, 20, 21 and 22. And more than half of parents with children want to sit somewhere else, and they'll sit somewhere else, and they'll pay they'll continue to pay. The parents will pay the reserved seat, but the children will be free.
And the printed boarding pass, is that going to be an issue for Ryanair?
We don't think so. Again, more nonsense. Like we're up to 99.9% of people now with a digital boarding pass. You will still have the right to go to the airport and print off a paper boarding pass. And again, we think almost nobody will want the inconvenience of arriving at the airport and going to an airport check-in desk or a ticket desk to queue to print off with the free boarding pass. So we think it'll have no effect whatsoever.
And the delays threshold, is that a bigger problem than it is at the moment?
Yeah, that continues to be the main problem. Our biggest problem with EU261 is still that air traffic control accounts for 90% of our flight delays, and yet we're not allowed to recover our costs from air traffic control. The law says you can recover your costs from whoever caused the delay, but all of the national ATC monopolies are immune from prosecution, so it's the usual. The Parliament and the Commission have done nothing about the two real issues facing consumers and competitiveness, which is ATC delays and this ETS tax on only intra-EU flights, while we exempt all the Americans, Russians, the non-Europeans landing and taking off in Europe.
The bookings, you were telling me last time, short bookings, very strong. The further out ones still weak. Are they still weak?
Yeah. Still, that trend hasn't changed. We're waiting to see what happens in the Middle East. If there is a resolution there, which we hope there will be in the next couple of weeks, oil prices have come back significantly this week, but we need kind of passenger recovery or a bit of passenger confidence. But for the moment, it continues to be strong close in and a little bit weaker further out.
And your yields will be down a wee bit. I think very good fares out there for even July, August.
I would think so. I think, we thought originally fares would be up 3 or 4% this summer. Now we think at best they'll be flat.
Mill for the lovely chat. Take care. Bye-bye.